Przybycien. Hey, you know what time it is, No Press fam? Welcome everyone to another episode of Beatdown, the segment and channel where two worlds collide. I am your host, Klaus. Today is a very special one. I'm not going to have any other people doing it with me. I'm just going to be doing it by myself. Because I know I'm late to the game. This happened already a couple days ago, but I said, why not? I was busy at the time, but I said, screw it, why not? So I'm going to be doing a very special edition one because this one's kind of like a holiday themed one. So let's start things off by saying I'll be representing Dr. Seuss's Grinch.
Now the first thing to go.
Or should I say the Grinch? Just so we're clear. Okay, let's get into the brief origin story, shall we guys? Okay, so it starts off a little interesting. So Baby Grinch is his first time experiencing the world. He is flying in a basket, coming down to Whoville, and he lands on the tree and he gets stuck there and no one notices him, and it's on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, somewhere around those times. They're partying, celebrating everything like, so nobody noticed Baby Grinch until the next morning. So he was kind of stuck in the freezing cold. This kind of made Baby Grinch a little resentful towards Christmas. That's what I think where it all starts. Eventually he gets a little bit older and he says, hey, you know what, I'm gonna give Christmas a shot. He was a kid, he fell for this girl, he had a crush, he was ready to go, so he made her a present. But when the day he decides to celebrate it and everything like that, when he gives that gift to her, it doesn't turn out the way he hopes. He gets made fun of by all the kids, so he gets mad and resentful again and decides that he's gonna live on his own. So as a child, he decides to walk and wander into the highest mountains near Whoville and live inside a cave, where eventually he would grow older and bitter and resentful towards Christmas and Whoville people. Eventually, Grinch decides to take it to an extreme level and try to ruin the city of Whoville's people's Christmas presents, or the Who's presents and celebrations, by taking their decorations and presents and all that stuff. But it doesn't do anything. In fact, it makes him realize after he does all this that that's not the true meaning of Christmas, and then he changes the era of his ways and decides to be a good guy, give all the things back to the Who's people. And yeah, that's the brief origin story of the Grinch. Sorry if I'm like a little tongue twisted. It's just usually sometimes when I'm trying to tell a story, I don't want to have to read something off a script. I just want to be able to just tell it as it is. Anyways, let's talk about powers, abilities, and feats. Let's see. So he's got super strength. That's a given. Genius intellect, master inventor. He's very cunning. He's ingenuity. He has ingenuity. He's very competitive, and he's hard to hurt. If you see the Ron Howard version, you can tell obviously that there's a lot more abilities that he is capable of doing in that. That's where I got all these abilities from. So here's some of the impressive feats he has done. He's lifted a horse sleigh with the entire town's presents and decorations on top of it, with a little girl as a cherry on top, and turned it around. He even pulled it as it was going down a hill. He snuck around a town full of people stealing their presents, with only one being able to catch him in the act, and he was able to even be clever enough to trick them back to sleep. Okay, he pulled Cindy Lou, who was stuck in one of those box sorted machines. He yanked her out of that, which was kind of like a suction type of machinery. So he was being able to pull her out of that with piles of boxes trampling her on top of her getting already sucked in. That's impressive itself. Able to hold himself and Max on the ceiling corners without making a sound, almost getting away without being detected. Yeah, he was very sneaky. If it wasn't for Max sneezing, he would have gotten away without being detected by Cindy Lou. He stopped a giant mechanical monkey toy with his own bare hands. Yeah, it was making some noise, and he managed to stop it. He lit a Christmas tree on fire using a gentleman's whiskey bottle, and I believe some kind of stick that was on fire. I don't remember, a candle. I don't remember what he used, but he managed to use it with a single breath, managed to destroy an entire giant Christmas tree. That was incredible. As a child, he was able to lift a Christmas tree on his own. Yeah. Alright guys, so now the end game to this. So let's start off with the fact that the Grinch is a master inventor. I think that comes in handy, considering that he can invent something or has something already invented that could inflict some kind of pain on Santa or create some kind of diversion, distraction he needs in order to catch his breath or either to slow the big man down. Not to mention, if the Grinch decides to keep the fight in the element of the environment of his own, where he's his home field advantage, he's gonna win this one because he's got all the tools inside that cave. So yeah, Santa is magical, but when you're facing someone who is familiar with his environment, plus he has all these little nooks and cranny gadgets everywhere in his disposal, I do believe that eventually that's going to put a KO on the big man himself. Another thing is Grinch is very strong, which means he can actually lift a massive amount of giant things and toss it at Santa. If he wanted to, he could throw a car, he could throw a Christmas tree, he can throw a sleigh at him. Santa's magic, it's going to be able to slow him down, but I don't think he's going to be able to catch everything with all his magical powers. Eventually, I think Grinch will hit him with something good. Or if Grinch could, he can get a grip of Santa's hands. That could come in handy too. If he gets a grip of Santa's hands, he could break Santa's hands. I know that sounds a little crazy, but hear me out. The reason I think so is because I think Santa's magic comes from within his own hands. Like, I believe he's able to conjure his magic based on his hands. I don't think he can conjure it through his eyes or his twinkles or his nose or anything like that. He's not like Genie or Bewitch. He has to do it through his hands. So if the Grinch breaks his hands, he could take him at a disadvantage and disarm him with the magic power, probably in that way. Again, home field advantage, no magic. This gives Grinch a very good advantage here. Another two other ways I could say this going into Grinch's favor is that if this becomes a chase and Grinch is having him chase him around, there's a chance Grinch can put him at a disadvantage and catch him off guard while he's chasing him, take him to the junkyard where that big huge junkyard machine has things popping out with all this garbage coming through. If he can get him close enough to that thing while he's chasing him and just time it right, he could probably get Santa hit with one of those garbage and then put him down for the count in that way. Or Grinch can play on Santa's soft side and act like he learned the error of his ways while he's inside the cave with him and eventually position him without Santa's knowledge in that trap door or trap floor. And then as he's trying to like plead and try to convince him that he's a good guy now, he can pull the lever and then pull Santa down that way. And that kind of suction from that machine that comes from the junkyard is pretty crazy. So I do believe it could put Santa at a weakened advantage or put him down for the count if it wanted to. Another factor I want to say is that the Grinch's heart, if it's still three times too small, makes him much more capable of doing things that Santa wouldn't. Santa is kind of a goody two-shoes. Grinch isn't. Grinch would be able to put some pain and work on Santa. Santa would kind of try to compromise and try to see if he doesn't need to put him down for the count in that way. So I do believe that the Grinch will get the job done compared to Santa. Santa will try to do everything he can to avoid putting him down for the count officially, compared to the Grinch, who has less of a heart, which means that he's either going to be able to eliminate him or knock him out. Either way, Grinch is capable of using manipulated tactics. He's quick, he's strong, he's smart. I think all these combinations will put Santa out of his place. Alright, and now I will be representing the man who provides Christmas presents to all boys and girls who are good. Santa Claus.
Mr. Klaus, you have a gift.
Okay, so let's get into the brief origin story of Saint Nick. Okay, so Saint Nick has been around since 1822. Yeah, I won't get into the full detail of how he was made or created. I will just get into his whole story. So, 364 days of the year, Santa is pretty much just chilling in the North Pole. Santa's this big jolly guy with a gray beard. He's been around the block for a while, and he has his little helpers who are elves create toys for little boys and girls who have been naughty or nice, and he checks his list every time, checks it twice to make sure he knows who's good and who's bad. After that, the one day out of the 364 days, the extra day 365 day of the year, he goes on a little drive to deliver presents to all the boys and girls in one night. Yeah. And the evening, he flies around in a reindeer slaying magic thing, and he manages to get into every children's house, give them all their presents, and then the next morning, whatever they ask from Santa on their Santa's list, they pretty much get it. If you're a good boy or girl, yeah, you're gonna get it. But if you're on his naughty list, you're gonna get a lump of coal. But yeah, that is the brief origin story of the magical Santa Claus. Now we're gonna get into the powers, abilities, and feats. Shall we? Okay. He obviously has Christmas magic. Fast, flexible, organized, durable. He's obviously a leader. He has a tolerable stomach, and he's very sneaky. So here are some of his feats. He delivers presents. This is already in itself is the best feat he's had. Delivers presents to all children around the world in one night. The speed force is strong on this one, okay? Think about the math and the capability of being so fast enough around the world. The Earth has at least 7 billion people living in it. I think even more. But if you count not the whole 7 billion, maybe 4 billion of those people being children, or 2 billion even, that's still a lot. Billion children in one night is not something you can do in a regular car or a plane or a helicopter or a jet. Nothing. Okay, so let's just put that out there. He can eat milk and cookies so he eats milk and cookies on each side, making his stomach strong and capable of eating a lot. Meaning he has a tolerable stomach. Because, I mean, who can eat milk and cookies the whole night? I mean, I would be throwing up at some point. I mean, I hear you can't even drink that much milk, or if you drink too much milk in one night, it could kill you. Like if you drink a massive amount of gallons in one setting, you could die. That is a fact. He's able to sneak into a chimney even though he's a heavy man. That's right. He's able to go into any chimney, even if it's small, cramped up, tiny little hole. Even if it's big, if it's narrow, it doesn't matter. The guy can squeeze in there, which means that he's got a lot of like a Mr. Fantastic's ability, flexibility wise, or elasticity. Okay. He sneaks into houses quietly and quickly. Yeah, that's saying something. Being able to move at a speed, but at the same time quietly enough where people won't know that you're there, that's not just magic. That's an athletic ability right there. Lives in one of the coldest places on Earth. So yeah, he's pretty much capable of handling temperatures of 0 degrees and then some, or negative something degrees, which means that if him and Grinch go toe to toe, I do believe Santa will probably outbeat him in the snow. I'm not really quite sure. Alright, so let's get into the end game. Santa's speed is a factor. Now you're probably thinking, well, reindeers were the reason why he was so fast. Nah, that's not true. Remember, he had to go in and out of houses on his own. He didn't have the reindeers there. He had nobody. He had to go in quickly and then get out. Even though they're fast enough to fly to wherever house he needs to, he had to be fast enough to get into a house quietly and then get out. So his speed is impressive, which means that, let's say Grinch and him get into it, it's about strength and speed in this situation. Grinch has strength, but Santa has speed. If Grinch decides to throw anything, Santa could just dodge it. He could run away. He could go after. He could dodge him. He could bobby weave. While Grinch tries to throw a swing, he can't really catch him because Santa is fast. Even if he's a big jolly guy, he's still fast in this essence. A couple other things is like, let's talk about backup team. Let's say he needs assistance, or if he wanted some backup. Grinch has Max. Okay. But Santa has his little helpers, and he has a lot of them, which means that, let's say they get in, he needs backup, both of them. Max is gonna get tied up by the elves, and then the elves are gonna help Santa take the Grinch out. That's just fact. Like, I mean, the elves are, maybe they're not super strong, maybe they're not, but all of them piling up on you, eventually that's gonna take a toll. And Santa being as big as he is, he's also gonna put him down for the count if he needs to in that way. Another thing Santa can do is have him chase him. Now, why would I say that? And on the rooftops, by the way. Reason that is because Santa can squeeze into anything. Grinch cannot squeeze into anything. He doesn't have magic-based abilities. His body is not flexible. It is what it is. It's gut. It's solid. So if he gets stuck somewhere, he's stuck. But with Santa, it's not the case. So if Santa decides to take him to an alley where eventually it starts becoming more and more narrow and it's a small space and he cramps in there, Grinch is going to get stuck. Santa isn't. And then Santa can just go to work on Grinch while he's stuck. Even if he gets stuck in a chimney, again, Santa can go work on his face, or he can go up to the top and just beat on his butt. Either way, Santa's got him stuck and beat him on that kind of way. And let's not forget, of course, Santa has magic. Magic is going to be a factor in this fight. Granted, Grinch has inventions. Grinch is very strong, but the Grinch doesn't have magic. Santa can conjure anything up out of nowhere in an instance. He can wrap them in presents. He can invent a giant nutcracker toy. He could pop up with a toy soldier. He can bring an army, or he can make one of these little tiny cages made out of toys. He could do anything he wants. He's Santa with magic. I mean, as long as he's in Christmas time, he's got it. I don't know about after Christmas, but Christmas time, he's got this in the bag. So with that magic base in his possession, I do believe the Grinch doesn't have a chance against Santa in this kind of way. No matter what he throws him, and no matter what he provides to his like arsenal, it doesn't matter. Santa again has magic-based abilities, which means magic is always going to pretty much trample over strength and inventions. Pretty much the point being made, he's got magic, he's got the backup, he's got the speed. With all that in his corner, the Grinch doesn't have a chance. And as always, no press fam, it's not up to me, it's up to you guys. So if you guys liked either one of the arguments, you know what you can do. You can either hashtag the Grinch or you can hashtag Santa Claus. As always, no press fam, we really appreciate you guys. Catch you guys later. Peace!